Hey movie buffs, I hope you're having a good day. Now, I enjoyed Barbie, I did, but it wasn't what I would have had the film turn out to be. I don't know why they chose to aim this movie entirely at adults. That's a fact. This film is aimed entirely at adults, and I'm genuinely baffled you would do that with a Barbie movie. I had fun with it, I enjoyed it, I think the message was a little bit heavy handed. I wouldn't have gone that direction. I would have made this movie pretty much squarely aimed at kids because that's Barbie. So I would have done a story where Barbie comes into the real world to cheer up her child. Now this movie would be a mix of Toy Story and also a little known 90s movie called Drop Dead Fred, where a woman's imaginary friend comes back to see her and you get this whole coming of age thing and reliving childhood and all that sort of thing. I would make the whole thing about this little girl used to play with Barbie, now she's growing up, but she's lost all her optimism. She's lost her hope. She's lost what Barbie used to bring her. And I make the film about coming of age, but also recapturing that innocence of childhood and how toys would make you feel. And I would have Barbie's world not be this place where Barbies are in control of the Kens and it's swapped from the human world. I get what they were going for, but I wouldn't have done that. I would just have had Barbie's world be optimistic, so everyone there is just so happy all the time and so optimistic and believe in the best in everyone. And Barbie would come into the real world and realise it's not idealistic. She would realise why this girl's struggling, and I make it a truly feel-good movie, which is what we want these days. You know, just a real load of colour and happiness and slapstick, and Barbie just bringing this sense of hope into a difficult world. And this isn't about protecting kids from the message that they did in the movie. It's more that I think they would have been bored through their teeth in Barbie. I mean, what do I know, because this film's been a massive success, but I genuinely do not understand how a kid could go and see Barbie and understand a word of it. That's just me. I would just make the feel-good movie of the summer, full of blind optimism, kind of the dumb, puppy-faced optimism of Bill and Ted, seeing the good in everyone, believing in everyone. Like, I love the scene where Barbie sits on the bench and tells that old lady she's beautiful. There should have been way more of that in the film, but there wasn't. That was like one of the only scenes of kind of blind optimism and kindness. I would want Barbie to kind of transform the world through her kindness, showing this youngster that you can be kind to people, you can see the good in people, but also examining the perils of that, which Barbie realises. It'd be all about that. And I think that could have been really good. And I want to capture those emotions that very much Toy Story 3 does, where Andy gives away his toys. I'd want to get that. I want to get a real tear-jerking thing between this little girl and her Barbie. So the relationship with Ken would be different in this. So Barbie would come into the human world with Ken, and they would have their first argument. They would slowly actually build a real human relationship in a real world with complicated ideas. So Barbie and Ken would learn the benefits of a human relationship and the perils. So the idea of the film would be that humanity really does need some optimism, some blind optimism, but also kids need to learn about the realistic perils of the world. So she would have had an easy relationship with Ken in her world, but when she comes to the real world, they realise what true love is on a human level. And it'd just be all about that. I really feel like that would be better. I think that would be fantastic because it's aimed at kids, but you're also having some ideas in that. You're also having some adult stuff that pulls at the heartstrings. All about the nostalgia of growing up with Barbie. All about how Barbie affected youngsters. And about how, why should you lose that when you grow up? That would be what it's all about. Like, she, as a kid, she believed she could be anything. She believed in the good in everyone. And Barbie coming into the real world is like, well, you don't have to lose that today. But Barbie would also be learning how it's not that easy to not lose that today. That'd be the whole thing for me. It'd be a real human film. But essentially a slapstick, silly, dumb, pink film. So I don't get why they went for such serious messages about today's society in a Barbie film. This wouldn't be about that. This would be what we get from Pixar, essentially, but filtered through Barbie. I don't get why you wouldn't want to do that. That'd make Barbie kind of melt everyone's heart in the film, because no one really sees the good in anyone anymore. And Barbie would do that. And that wasn't what this Barbie film was about. And I thought it was going to be at the start. That's why I was so disappointed. I thought it was going to be a combination of sort of Toy Story and other Pixar movies. Kind of Drop Dead Fred, if you want to watch a film that kind of sees what I'm going for. maybe not as chaotic as Drop Dead Fred, but the kind of idea of the imaginary friend coming into the real world is what I really key into, and that childhood feeling of escapism and magic. I'd steer away from really covering serious real world gender issues. And there could be a little bit in it, certainly, but I think the story I've come up with is better, going for sort of a Spielberg syrupy film, which everyone needs right now, and which adults and kids alike could enjoy. And that kids could really engage with, because it's written for them, and adults could enjoy too. Of course, by the end of the film, Barbie would go back to her optimistic world. I wouldn't have her become human. I'd have her and Ken. They've created a real human relationship since they've come to the human world. And then they're going back because they realise they're not from the real world, but that's okay because she's made the real world better. It'd be kind of this idea that she's not trying to become human. She's trying to show humans certain things. And she doesn't belong in the human world, so she goes back to her Barbie world, but with a sense of knowledge of what's going on over there, but she still belongs in the Barbie world. So the ending would be very emotional because it would be all about the girl's relationship with Barbie in this. It'd be a very emotional goodbye, and it would be this thing about, I'm still going to be there for you, you know, and I'm still going to remember what we went through, and Barbie will remember what she went through, but she doesn't belong in the human world. She was just there to make this child happy again. That's what she exists for, and she knows that. And I think you get some tears wiped away if you've done that. And again, you could have moments in the film with ideas of feminism. You could. I just felt it was heavy-handed and written too much for adults. If you could find a way to write that stuff well where kids understand it, fine. But what do I know? Because obviously Barbie is just absolutely kicking ass at the box office. What do I know? I'm not saying I'm right at all. But this is what I felt like when I was in the cinema. I was like, this is what I would rather see, and I was kind of forming the idea in my head. What do you think about this idea, guys? Do you think it's better than what we got? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the actual Barbie movie? I enjoy it. I think it's good. But I feel like it's a missed opportunity. But thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe to this channel if you love breakdowns, if you love analysis, and if you love retrospectives for movie buffs. I will see you guys next time.